this next topic, watch out. Leasing a Tesla has a very high interest rate. We've got some back end screenshots, and I'm going to show you how much more higher it is, and we'll walk us through the math and to see which one could be a better deal. Should you lease or should you finance? Let's take a look at it. But if you're just joining in, my name is Des. I love talking about Tesla deal hacking, so definitely hit that subscribe if you're interested. So leasing traditionally has had lower payments for buying Teslas. You can even see on the website right now, we've got lease payments as low as $216 a month. But that's, of course, you're factoring, or Tesla is factoring, the gas savings, which we can take that off immediately because not everybody's going to save that much on a lease. Let's try and factor in the taxes and fees for California to get some real payments as shown on the screen here. So $299 a month, but of course, I don't think I've actually factored in the taxes there. $299 a month for the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, all the way up to $649 a month for a Model 3 Performance. And in fact, if you compare it against the finance payment numbers, it's about the same across the board if you were to take a look at, well, maybe not about the same, but about $100 to $200 a month in difference. So not the same, but let's take a look at, let's break this down and peel back some of the onion layer on this, because when you lease a Tesla vehicle, even though it's a lease, you're still financing what you use, or what's called the depreciation in that 3 years. And there is an interest on that, I guess, carrying for what that is. It's labeled as money factor. And so we've got a post here from Shadow Bandit, who posted this on the Tesla Motor Club's forum. And actually they wrote, is anyone leasing a Model 3 Performance? They wrote this today. The lease rate seems to be, or no, they wrote it a few days ago. The lease rate seems to be extremely high. I have a 825 credit score, and the quote came in at 9.34%. I asked them to do a rate shot, and the other two were higher. So leasing, you still are financing the depreciation, or the difference that you're keeping it from when you buy it to when you return it at the end of that 2 or 3 year lease. And so we commonly see this, a high interest rate at, I've never seen a 9.34 interest rate, but we commonly see a higher interest rate on a Tesla vehicle. And in fact, I was able to get some screenshots from a friend who's actually buying a Model 3 long range today, and it also confirms that on a Model 3 long range, we can see that the money factor is 0.0029200, which, how to calculate that is you actually take that number 0.0029200 and times it times 2400. That gives you the interest rate calculation, which on this Model 3 long range lease, that's going to be about a 7% interest rate APR on the lease of a Tesla vehicle. And so on the surface level, this seems to be a great deal. $3,000 down, getting the military discount plus the $7,500 in the state of like Maryland, and it's going to be a monthly payment at $15,000 or 15,000 miles for the year, or per year at 36 months at $505 a month, and this is with 3,000 downs. But if we were to take, or try and take, this exact car and switch it to 1.99 at 72 months, we can try and see some of the differences here, because the biggest drawback with leasing a vehicle, or there's two drawbacks with leasing a vehicle. The first one is that you have to turn it in at the end of the lease, so you cannot buy it out and cannot take advantage of any equity position if the vehicle for whatever reason is worth more at the end, and you have to turn it in. So it's a pure rental, and you're going to be paying what, $20,000 to $30,000, or about $20,000 over the course of 3 years for having a vehicle or renting a vehicle from Tesla or Tesla Leasing. So let's take these same numbers, same MSRP, same sales tax and everything, and throw it into our handy dandy monthly payment calculator. So at 72 months at 1.99 with the same amount of down payment, we can see that the monthly payment is about $119 more for financing a vehicle at 72 months. And so the big thing here is, the big question here is, will this vehicle, if you were to finance it, because when you finance it, you're kind of taking the risk on whether it's going to be worth this same amount in 3 years or not. Whether when you're doing a lease, it's on Tesla and you just give it back to them, and it's their problem to see if it's worth the same amount as they calculated within 3 years. But taking a look at the table here, you can see that at the end of 3 years, you have paid about $700 in interest the first year, $641 in interest the second year, and $505 of interest in the third year. And your ending payoff balance, or how much you'll owe at the end of year 3, will be $21,617. So the biggest question here is this: if you were to buy buy the vehicle, and let's say for whatever reason you want to sell it at the end of year 3, just like how you were leasing it for 3 years and you give it back at the end of year 3. The biggest question is the Tesla Model 3, a 2024 Tesla Model 3, going to be worth $21,000 or $22,000 in 2027 when it's 3 years from now? You can kind of see where some of this math may come into play. But if you're keeping the vehicle for 5-10 years, then it's a different story. Then 1.99 is going to be your best bet no matter what. And the second drawback with leasing with this is that when you turn it back into Tesla, there's a couple fees that might come with it. So the first one is a hard $395 disposition fee right here that you turn it in back to them. You have to pay that. And the second one could be lease end fees. So if you are someone that doesn't take well of your vehicle, or doesn't take care of your vehicle with damages, curb rashes, or anything like that, then their Tesla is going to come after you. And you can Google yourself Tesla lease end damages or reports or whatever it is, and you'll commonly find people with dare I say horror stories with $3,000 to $5,000 bills at the end of it. So really, it's, do you want to take the risk or do you want Tesla to take the risk? But you know, Tesla is definitely coming after you if the vehicle is not in the condition that they expect it to be. Some of these fees, like the disposition fee or even the lease and damages fee, could be waived at the end if, of course, you get into another Tesla vehicle. And if you're worried about technology, like what if the $7,500 federal tax credit goes away and Tesla then drops all prices $7,500? That could do some crazy things to the market. Or if Tesla is on hardware 5 or AI 6, whatever, then certainly that could also add some depreciation to Tesla vehicles. Well, hopefully that clears a lot of it up in terms of leasing. But the one big thing I wanted to illustrate in this video is that leasing a Tesla vehicle has a much higher interest rate, anywhere from 7 to 9% on financing versus just buying it at 1.99%. Really, it depends on each person on what your goals are and how long you're going to keep the vehicle. But if you're looking 3 years versus 3 years, then I'm not really sure. It kind of depends on how you take care of your vehicle as the second step. But we're going to jump into the live stream comments. But before we do that, this video is actually sponsored by my Patreon link. Down below in the description is the Patreon link where you support the channel and get access to the ultimate Tesla buying guide out there with all the best interest rates for financing your Tesla. And as an added benefit, I do respond to all DMs in the Patreon app, and you can schedule a phone call with me where we can go over your exact buying situation on how to get the best deal on a Tesla at the best financing rate. So definitely check it out. Patreon link down below in the description.